SFO, LAX. Lose an hour, gain an hour.
I mean, I love waking up in the morning not knowing what's gonna happen or who I'm gonna meet, where I'm gonna wind up.
I'm leaving on a jet.
Once you cross the ocean and cut yourself loose, looking for something more beautiful, something more exciting, and yes, I admit, something more dangerous.
Next time, let's go first class, all right?
Check-in for that flight doesn't begin for another 2 hours, sir.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
60 East, what is popping with you?
What's going on? So I had initially met our guest today, Lyric Jones, in Atlanta at the A3C Festival a few years back. We were on a showcase together with rapper Big Pooh, Razzcast, Planet Asia, and a few others. You first got on my radar then. You know, I've been following you ever since and stuff, and I wanted to get you on the show. Glad we were able to make it happen.
Yeah, dope. I really appreciate you reaching out. It's been a while. I haven't really been doing a lot of interviews, so this is pretty cool.
Got you. Yeah, I actually reached out a few months ago. I had thrown a festival out here in L.A., and I wanted to get you on, but it was kind of like late in the process, and I think we weren't able to make it happen. I was talking to your booking agent, but yeah, hopefully we can get you on this year if you're available.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to perform. I always say, like, as long as it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm completely down. Like, as of lately, I've been rocking with a band, so I'm not sure. You said you've been following me, but I'm not sure if you've seen. I haven't really been performing a lot lately, mainly because I kind of want to just perform at my best, at my most excellent state. And, you know, when you're on the come up, you kind of have to, you know, put aside your resources sometimes just to get on stage. So sometimes you weigh those options. Like, of course, if I'm going overseas or whatever, I know I'm not going to be able to bring a 5-piece band at this level.
Yeah,
you know?
got you.
But on certain levels, you know, you want to perform your best so your fans or your new fans know, like, oh, wow, she rocks with a band or she does this, instead of getting a stripped down version of you, you know? So I've been on that wave lately on really just doing shows where it makes sense. So absolutely, just keep me in mind for the festivals. I tell everybody that. I'm definitely always love being on stage. That's the best way to get your fans, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you touched on that too, because you know, I'm actually in the same boat. Like, I don't like doing shows unless it's a good look and certain things get met, you know what I mean? And a lot of up and coming artists listen to the show, and like, they're not too familiar with touring, and they're always asking me for advice. So I'm glad you touched on that, because that's something that, you know, as you climb the levels of being like a touring artist from the very beginning, where it's just like, yo, you'll do any show that comes your way, towards when you start getting closer, when you get closer to where you want to be, you can be a lot more selective.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just every scenario and every situation is different. Like, sometimes shows are a good look, but you go on like first, and there's nobody there. There's nobody. So, but you still, you know, if it's an incredible festival like the Coachella or whatever, you know, it still matters, you know. Like, for example, I did Hyro Day this last fall, and I've been trying to do Hyro Day for maybe like 3-4 years. I've been trying to get on that lineup. Now, did I go on prime time on the main stage? No, but I had a crowd. I was on a good stage. I went on early, but there was fans there, and for those type of shows, you know, you don't really get all hung up, like, am I going to be able to have my full band? Am I going to have room and board and all those things? Like, you just make sure, I always tell artists, just make sure you're not paying to play. For me, like that, you got to spend money to do it at this level. For me, like, nah, if it costs me money to perform in any capacity, like, nah, I'm not. It's not worth it for me anymore, unless it's like opening up for Jay-Z or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
Yeah, exactly. It took you a long time to get there, and it took you a long time of earning those stripes and paying those dues to be able to tell people, like, yo, I have a set price now. Like, I'm not going to do your show for free.
Right. I mean, not Not even necessarily that, because, I mean, even 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, it just depends on the climate of the industry right now. It depends on what type of show it is, what they asking for. But yeah, like if it's an opening for somebody with notability at a certain venue, you just have to weigh it and see if it makes sense. Like every show's not going to be paid, but just see if you can get something out of it. And if you're not, how is it going to benefit you? And if it's not benefiting you and you spending money, then what sense does that make? You know what I'm saying? So when you up and coming, it's like, yeah, everything matters. Every show, every open mic, every radio interview, every cipher, like everything, you know, you need to be out there. But, you know, once you start getting certain accolades, once you've done a South by Southwest 2-3 times or A3C 4 times, or once you've been on Sway, once you've done those things, it's like when people come to you and reach out to you, then obviously they want you. So, and then you just got to gauge how badly they do. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. It's like, you don't want me that bad if you can't afford me, or if you can't at least give me gas money. You know, I even pay my friends, like if I want my homies to perform on my show, I even throw them gas money or something, you know, for their time, for getting there, or else they basically paid to perform and do me a favor, and that's not cool. So yeah, you just gotta gauge it. You gotta just see.
Dope. Yeah, I'm glad we hopped into all of this off top. I'm definitely going to touch on Hyro Day and Sway and all that, but for the listeners that may not be familiar, let's just give a brief history of who Lyric Jones is.
Well, ask me specifically. I mean, I can't really brief myself.
Oh, got you. All right, well, you're originally from Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, I'm from Boston, Mass. Born in New Jersey from infancy as an infant, but yeah, raised in Boston, and I went to school in Georgia, and now I'm located in Los Angeles.
Cool. So let's talk about the transition from moving from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Well, it was difficult. I just kind of packed up my car, moved out here. Just needed a change of pace. And I was living in Georgia at the time when I moved, so it wasn't like a drastic weather change, because Georgia's fairly warm, but it's been getting colder lately. But yeah, I went from kind of being that dude, that girl, that chick on the scene in Atlanta, to really kind of being like nobody out here. So it was different. It was interesting. It took me a while to even want to get on stage, get on the mic, because it's just different with the hip hop scene out here. It's not really a scene per se. It's just a lot of shows and events out here. So yeah, it's definitely different and has its pros and cons. It's a major city, so there's good moments and things you love about it, and then there's things that you don't, just like a New York or Miami or Atlanta, anywhere, like a big city. So.
Got you. And a quick sidebar, I was going to ask you, like, how, because when I seen you perform at A3C, I seen you perform with Fiend, and I was wondering, like, how you guys probably connected, but now that I'm thinking of you're living in Georgia, you guys probably connected around then, right?
Yeah, well, he goes by Z Rich now. So me and Z Rich connected, I want to say it was probably like through social media at first. Like, we were both living in Georgia, but we didn't meet each other until I think just like the social media mutual friends. And then I think one of the guys who shot one of my very first videos, Will Fagans, out in Georgia, was doing like a documentary about independent artists in Atlanta, sorry. And Z Rich was there at the shoot, and then we kind of was just like, yo, I've been checking out your stuff, and, you know, we both were familiar with each other just off of mutual connections. And I want to say very shortly after that, about 2-3 weeks after that, we talked about getting in the studio, and we did, and that's how we came about with our song Reasons Why. We literally did the song on the spot. And from then on, we've been very, very close friends. He's like one of my best friends. Aside from music or whatever, we get on the phone and we talk about everything. So it's good to have those type of people in the game. And every time I come to Georgia, or I do a show, whatever, Reasons Why was one of my biggest songs. So we always try to perform it. It's a fun bop to do. So yeah, that's a connection.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember my first time performing in Atlanta in 2012. I performed with Fiend, and ever since then, it was kind of similar. You know, we've always kept in contact and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's the homie. We got another song in the works and video as well. So keep a lookout on for that. Finally, we got another one.
Yep. Shout out to Z Rich. So, when you moved to LA, did doors start opening, or were doors already opening prior to you moving out here?
It's weird to kind of say doors opening because, I mean, I can't really say I came out here and this was the things that happened were an LA door, if that makes any sense. Like a lot of the doors were kind of like established before I moved out here. For example, me linking with Rah Digga was in Georgia, and she came out here to visit one time and did a show, and I got on, one of those shows, and that's how I met Planet Asia and Tri-State, and those guys. So I can't really say that was a door that was LA. You see what I'm saying? Like that was my relationship with Rah Digga. So that's really been kind of like my story out here. I'm not really like in the LA scene as far as in the labs with certain producers and the songwriters and in the songwriting circle. So it's hard to really say, but as far as me creating my own doors and busting them down, yeah, it took me a year or two to get that going. Like as far as throwing shows and building with different artists. To do my Jones Experience show and getting into certain venues and stuff like that. But LA is so big that there's just so many different scenes and so many different circles you can be in and about that it's, you think you good here, but then it's like, whoa, this is a whole nother like area and lane and group of people and connection you got to have. So, yes, I would say, as far as my LA experience, I created a lot of those on my own. A lot of my own doors that I got the hammer and nail and built up.
Yeah, I got you. So one of those doors being the Friday Fire Cypher with Sway in the Morning. I also seen you did I believe it was the South by Southwest showcase with him also.
No, I didn't do South by Southwest. I actually haven't been to South by since 2013. It's been a while, but the Friday Fire Cypher, again, had nothing to do with me living out here. Sway and all of them are in New York. So those relationships were kind of just built on me being persistent as far as sending my music to Sirius and to Shade 45. And I was doing that. I even say it in the interviews I did Get in the Game first before I did the Friday Fire Cypher. And Get in the Game is a contest on Sway where you just send in your music, send in like 2 songs, and he plays it for the listeners, and then they call in and say she's in the game or on the bench. And so that's how those relationships started. And that just came from me literally at my cubicle at work and just sending in my music. I would hit up Heather B and them on Twitter, hit up Sway, and was just literally creating my own doors and sending my own music to them. And from there, it was like, yeah, then I was on the Friday Fire Cypher, then I did the Doomsday Cypher. So, you just got to keep fanning those flames. So, again, I wouldn't say that had nothing to do with living here. I think if I was living in Atlanta or New York or wherever, I probably would have, who knows? That's God. I'm not God, but I just don't really think my location had anything to do with that. It's probably just the talent itself.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, too, because a lot of artists always hit me complaining like, oh, I live in a small town. I don't live near a big city. It's hard for me to find opportunities. And I always tell them, like, yo, you got the internet. Like, the the world is even.
Yeah.
Everybody everywhere can just use the internet and contact the same people.
Yeah, well, it's twofold because it's not like people on the streets of LA and I go into certain venues and shows or whatever that they don't know who I am. I'm still performing. I'll still hop on the mic at a jam session. Certain special guests. Age will call me up on stage, at whatever, a Stone's Throw event or whatever. So I've had my moments where I've been on stage and it's mattered, So I wouldn't really say, like, it doesn't matter if you're in a certain city. Being in a small city is tough because there's not a lot of outlets to perform, and a lot of people don't come to those places. But it's not any excuse to not get your music out there. There's distribution. You can do whatever. Go on TuneCore, go on Symphony, and get your SoundCloud popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's hard too. I mean, it's hard for me. But as far as, like, getting your music out there, and if it's dope, like, people gonna find it. And then it's up to you whether you have the funds to go to these other places. Because there's countless stories of people that live in the outskirts of Vegas or the outskirts of Seattle or whatever and come travel to LA or travel to Oakland and San Francisco. Like, go to where the closest big city is and become a part of that scene. Everywhere in the United States, there's a nearby big city, So just go there and do what you got to do. Hop in that car, drive there, It's a matter of how hungry you are to get your name out there. And that's literally what separates the successful people or people who are making moves from the people who stay stagnant. I truly believe that.
Definitely. So let's talk about some of your festival experiences. We briefly talked about High Road Day. Let's talk about A3C. I know you did Hip Hop Camp. I did Hip Hop Camp the year before you. Okay. I loved it out there. So let's talk about your experiences at these festivals, from getting booked to meeting other artists there and just, the differences in locations and stuff.
Yeah. Is there a specific festival you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Let's start with High Road Day.
Okay. Well, High Road Day was, again, I just was really diligent in trying to get on High Road Day forever. So I think over the past 4 years, 3-4 years, I reached out to everybody I know that was connected to it. So DJ Redmatic or Opio with the hieroglyphics, just Walt Liquor, the homie Planet Asia. Like, I was just really just trying to get answers and ask questions. And so finally I got like a lead that, we'll throw you on the show. And that just comes, again, from me consistently grinding and being associated with the right people as far as people that were on the festivals already. Like every year there was somebody on the festival that I've either done a song with or toured with or something. So it made it a little bit easier for me to send in my stuff or whatever, or people to send a link like, yo, Lyric's already fucking with us. You know what I'm saying? She already fucking with our people.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped that High Road put out Tri-State and Ono's album, and I'm on that album with Hus Kingpin and Westside Gun. I'm on a joint with Tri-State. So they just put out that project. So I really do think the High Road thing was timing at this past year. I had just got off tour at Rodiga and, was really visible at the time. So I had a lot of fun. I drove up there. Did I drive up there by myself? Yeah, I think I did. I drove up there solo, and it was kind of a rainy, cloudy day, but it was a lot of fun because I had a great crowd, and Raz Cass called me up and I performed with him too. Sold a couple CDs and met a couple folks. It was fun. High Road Day was a lot of fun. Hopefully I can do it again.
Dope. Let's talk about A3C. I know you've been out there a couple times. I'm sure there's good, there's bad. Let's talk about it. A3C is just A3C. I always like to say is like the genesis of Lyric Jones.
I always give it its credit, because when A3C started getting popular, I was really kind of coming into my own as Larry Jones there. So a lot of my relationships, like my long-lasting relationships in hip-hop, all started at A3C. Either A3C or South by Southwest. So a lot of people I met, it's like literally like a hip-hop homecoming. And they say that term now, and I really feel like I started saying that before anybody. I said that on panels and stuff, years and years ago, which is great, but it kind of caught on, because that's really what it is. Like, you go to A3C and you like, yo, I'm going to run into so-and-so here, or I'm going to run into this person here. So, countless relationships that I've met at A3C. As far as my shows, the past two were good. But it was kind of notorious for me, like years and years of just kind of being on weird time slots and weird venues and not a lot of people, just other artists. But it's cool. Like, it's always just fun for me to just bump into people and see people that I haven't seen in a while, or meet new people. I have a lot of fans and friends relationships from A3C. So it's cool that the past 2 years, though, that I was, paid to perform and was treated the right way as an artist with A3C. Got to see Nas, perform. So it's definitely getting bigger and better. But they just got some kinks to work out and everything. But it's one of those festivals that it was my first festival ever that I ever performed at. And I was probably 21 or something like that, like 20, 21 years old. So it's been a long time A3C veteran. So I think my first show, I had one person there, one or two people, and it was Torre. It was Torre and I think my homie Small Eyes tried to fall through. Oh, no, he performed after me. So it was Torre, and then a good friend of mine, Kelsey, out in Atlanta, just came to see me perform, and that was it. I had a full band and nobody there. And then you go from that to, being on stage with Rod Digger at a dope venue, too. So, has this great moment.
Yeah, that's so dope. Let's talk about your hip-hop camp experience.
That too. That was along the lines of one of the best experience I've ever had as an artist. Period.
Yep. Oh, likewise.
Like I can't really put it into words. It was just so amazing to be out of the country and see fans that knew who I was already, had pictures of me printed out, had CDs ready to be signed. I was blown away. I was moved to tears several times. And that was one of those shows, like we were talking about before, like I didn't get paid to go to camp. I had to kind of take a back seat for me to go, because I was, kind of being tagged along with Rod Digger. And that was very kind of her to kind of like, let me kind of come into the fold. I had my own show, my own set on a hangar stage at Hip Hop Camp, but she brought me out in front of over 60,000 people on the main stage as well. So those type of moves, those power moves are very important. I know a lot of people in this industry, and it's been, I can only count maybe like one or two times where somebody has really like done something huge like that for me. So that was dope. That was amazing. Ran into Sky Zoo and Apollo Brown out there. I met Mos Def. That was amazing. Saw Odyssey perform, and I've seen Odyssey before, but I've never seen him like that, and that was my favorite part of the whole festival. Sold out of my merch, and it was great. It was amazing, and so much love, so many fans. I got some great pictures and everything, so I'm just anxious to get back overseas. Just really excited.
Yeah, I was what do you think about the reaction to not only your music, but hip-hop in general from people, from Europeans versus Americans?
Well, if I can be all the way honest, like, I'm used to getting a good response with my shows. I'm very rare. It's very rare that I get on stage and people aren't paying attention or they're not receptive or whatever. Whether I'm opening, whether I'm a headliner, like I command a presence on stage, which, you know, I've learned from watching the greats. Like I study, you know, on how to be a great performer. So I think the only thing would just be the language barrier. Like they know when you say, everybody put your hands up and everybody, you know, make some noise. Like they know those key words and they excited. But in the US, what's kind of cool is like I can have those engaging conversations on stage and they know what I'm saying and they're responding and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I had to get used to out there is that people are just really just feeling the music and the vibe, which is universal, which I love. But I'm a lyricist, so I liked when I rocked in Chicago or when I rocked in Atlanta, cats were really catching my bars, you know. That's fun to me, is when people hear those and they react to them. But yeah, I mean, Kemp was incredible. Like people came up to me. People definitely spoke English, so they know what you're saying, but it's just a different type of translation. You know what I mean? So it was fun.
So before we get into the questions of the show that we asked all our artists, I wanted to ask you about the tour with Rah Digga. I know you had already built a relationship with her, as you said, but let's talk about the actual tour and some stories and just some experiences that you had.
It was fun. Like me and Digga are like, that's like my big sister. So I put the tour together from the beginning, and we did that song Ski Mask Way 2 years ago. And when I quit my job, I reached out to her and was like, yo, let's go on the road with this song and see what happens. And so she was down, and we did like a first leg, which was basically just the South. So we did Atlanta and Houston, North Carolina, and a little bit of Austin and San Antonio, actually. And I did the Doomsday Cypher in that run also. And then we took a little break for the holidays, and then she had a show out here in LA, and I was like, well, shit, if you're going to be back out here, let's try to put a little West Coast run together and put some more shows. So that was fun. There was I really have nothing bad to say about it. Like, we didn't have no arguments, no fights, no disagreements, no nothing. It was just like the perfect tour, a perfect big sister, little sister relationship. No issues with flights and stuff like that. We did have one moment where we almost missed the flight because I overslept. And we got there just in time. It was to get from Houston to San Antonio, and we got there literally at the time the gate was gonna close. And Digga had on this like sparkly what is it, like a Victoria's Secret jumpsuit, like a little sweatsuit. And she set the alarm off like twice, and I'm looking at the lady like, ma'am, the plane is right there. Like, we don't have any weapons. Can we please get on the plane? And there was nobody in the security line. It was just us. So the lady was just taking her sweet time, but we made it. We literally made it just in time. And that was the only close call. I was like, I'm never, ever, ever, ever gonna oversleep again.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I've heard
a little faded and not. Huh?
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories on this show, like just situations that, you know, they go wrong. But yeah, I mean, you were saying you had a little too much fun the night before?
Yeah, I had a little too much fun the night before. Was flirting with some dude and was on the phone and then texting him and then fell asleep. And my phone died. You know, when you don't plug it in, it's like you faded, drunk, flirting, and then it's like, oh, the phone died. So I woke up like, damn, we had 30 minutes left. I called the promoter like, yo. And so I think he sent us an Uber, and we got there like nobody showered, nothing. We just stuffed everything in our suitcases. It was just literally a miracle that we made it. Shout out to Southwest Airlines. That was
that's
great.
Yeah, actually, shit. Before, what was that?
No, I was gonna say. I was just gonna add that Chicago was probably one of my favorite cities. It was my first time there, and it was fun to perform in Chicago. They was very energetic and showed a lot of love, and I think that was the city where I had the most fans, other than Atlanta. So that was dope. I've never been there, so that was really dope.
Cool, that's dope. So actually, I had one more question before we get into the questions of the show. Was some of your collaborations I was seeing from Armin to Blue in Exile to Broad Digger and stuff like that. I know you guys just released a consolation video for the Blue in Exile song, right? A couple days ago.
Yeah, they dropped that earlier that week.
Yeah, how did that come about? And what's been the reaction and stuff?
Well, Blue in Exile had like a couple unreleased records from the Below the Heavens album. And so Exile had reached out to me. Well, I think first, me and Blue already were connected. So I met Exile years ago through Blue. Blue took me over there years ago. So I think I bumped into Exile again at an event in LA, and then we got reconnected, exchanged numbers and stuff. And he had hit me and said, hey, I need a hook for this joint that me and Blue had kind of in the vault. And so, yeah, laced that, and I didn't really know that it was going to be a single and video and everything behind it, which is definitely cool, definitely beneficial. When you do favors and when you collab with your folk, it's real cool on the other side when they put the effort behind it to where it makes it worth it, So, Blue is going to be on the remix to one of my songs that I'm dropping this month. It's going to be him and Planet Asia. So that's going to be cool. Blue's making his rounds again. So yeah, the video's so cute. The little kids look just like Blue in Exile. And
I've seen it.
I think the little Exile is Exile's real cousin. Like that's his little cousin, and that's his friend. Yeah. I was like, no wonder, because they look just like them. So how they managed to have Exile's little cousin friend look just like Blue is just incredibly divine. So it's just so cute.
Check it out. Trying to ride away. Come on. Yeah. Feels good, right? Shine bright, right? What's up, star? We know who you are. What's up, star? We know who you are. What's up, star? We know. Check it, yeah. Sometimes it feels like I'm going with the wind, so I'm blending in with the breeze. I'm speaking out again, please bear with me. I'm zoning out once the snare hits me, cause niggas be ice grilling. I feel they stares fit me like gloves. These mean mugs and screw faces got me taking niggas serious, spitting at new paces. Whatever blue laces reminds you of the West like Chucks with blue laces. The older new Lakers, I'm showing you an older Blue in hopes that you embrace it like a soldier do with gauges. Molding you through pages that I wrote for you, laid it in the vocal booth, press it up and sold it to the places that you go into in hopes that you would take it, play it over and over, so you get high with it and you feel it when you're sober. You can cry to it, sister, my shit'll get you over. My niggas ride with it, turn it up a little more and show the world. And boys and girls sing along, it's the song of liberation. Keep faith and stay strong, show the world. Boys and girls sing along, it's the song of liberation. Keep faith and stay strong, all star.
Just shine on when you're blind enough. There's no crime in being flying enough. Most these niggas won't get it, gotta go get it. Baby, you're a star. In the sky, they're all aligned for you. Ain't no time for being shy enough. Everybody can't live it, you gotta stay with it. Know that you're a star.
I shine like stars in all weather conditions. Whether stormy or glistening, I'll be spinning till they measure me with living in a better position. And they ask me why my niggas be only focused on cheddar. Cause birds of a feather flock together, you know. Let's unite like leather with froze. Still pics with the fists raised high. Praise God, I got soul. I'm posing in flicks, blowing kisses to the globe. Hello world, are you there with me? Then stare with me at the stars that we are. Bear with me for a second. Feels like heaven. Got me zoning out once the snare hits me. Trying to catch it. Cause we peasants in the presence of God. But men can never measure to the speck of a star that we are. So believe and keep shining like a diamond in the rough. Brush the dirt off your balls, dog, you blinded.
Just shine on when you're flying. There's no crime in being flying. Most these niggas won't get it. Gotta go get it. Baby, you're a star. In the sky, they're all behind me. Ain't no time for being shy. Everybody
check it out, feels like a space odyssey, cause it's something that you gotta see. Some people may hate, some will probably be astonished by the shit we accomplish. Others will acknowledge it, but leave it up to God and me, cause he promised me everything I prayed for. That's why I bang doors down, trying to warn you about this great war. And cats be asking what I came for, cause they know I'm finna take back the way rap was. Cause it ain't yours to fuck up, cuz stop tripping like your leg is sore and step up, blood. We gotta take more time, chase more dreams, believe and have faith more. We ain't all kings, but we ain't all niggas. We somewhere in between being queens and bitches. So we living in the seams and the zippers of society. See, we can hold this shit together or let it go forever as we watch it fall quietly. Silent by the screams of anxiety, trying to be him and trying to be her. But you need to dig inside and try to be you first. You need to dig inside and try to be you. You a star.
Just shine on when you're flying. There's no crime in being flying. Most these niggas won't get it. Gotta go get it. Baby, you're a star. In the sky, they're all behind me. Ain't no time for being shy. Everybody can't live it. You gotta stay with it. Know that you're a star.
Yeah, that's funny, man. So, we gonna get into the shows for the questions of the show. This is all about touring. We only ask people to be on the show that, we've seen on the road and grinding constantly, because we don't want people on here that don't know what they're talking about. So, let's get into it. So, 3 things that you have to have with you on tour.
3 things that you have to have?
Yeah.
You gotta have your laptop. You gotta have your merch. And you gotta have a Sharpie. Yeah.
Yep, straight up. All right, cool.
I would say those are the 3.
Cool. They're all pretty self-explanatory. So, all right, next question. What is the jankiest promoter move that someone has tried to pull on you?
On tour or just in general?
In general.
The jankiest promoter, it's you know how when it's so many that you just don't remember.
Oh yeah.
I would just have to be general and say they want you to have an hour set or 45-minute set and not pay you type thing. They try to play the this is for exposure vibe. So I would say that. There's never been anybody who just straight up didn't pay me or anything like that, but they ask for a lot and don't have anything to give you. So I would say that would be the jankiest. I can't think of a specific story right now. I'm sure there's plenty. It's just it's 10 years plus in this industry. You just blank them all out at this point.
Yep, it's all good. I feel you. All right, so your favorite city?
Favorite city?
Yeah.
Woo! It's hard. It's so hard. You can give me a couple. Okay, I'll give you a top 3. Because there's so many cities I haven't been to yet either. But Chicago is up there, man, and I've only been there once. But that type of love and energy, you don't forget that. That was just, I've gotten love in every city, but that was incredible. It was the capacity. It was at a smaller venue. I want to say 200 people, but they had exactly 200 people in there. It was to the wall, and they were rocking with me. The ladies were up in the front, the guys were up in the front with their arms crossed, looking at me with the face she going in. I loved it. So Chicago is up there. Houston might be a close second. Houston is there. I've been to Houston now twice. And again, packed. the capacity. Sold a lot of merch and got a lot of love. The promoter is really cool out there. And I got friends and everything. So Houston is there. Like, I really enjoyed Houston. That's a favorite of mine. And I'll say it's tied with Atlanta and Vegas. And the reason why, I'll say tied with Charlotte, North Carolina. They would kill me if I didn't say this on there. Charlotte, North Carolina, and Vegas. And the reason why Atlanta's lower is because Atlanta's conditional. Like, Atlanta's home for me, like it's one of my homes, but if it's not like this big event or this big thing, it's like the love is just kind of funny style, you know? Like, you come out there and it's like sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. But when you show love, it's just like, yo, I'm home. Like that A3C where I met you, that was one of my favorite shows out there. And I've had countless incredible shows in Atlanta, but it's just you never know what you're going to get. And for me to have gone to North Carolina and gone Charlotte, to be exact, because North Carolina is pretty big, and really kind of just be with Digga both times and that type of love, it's just hard to explain. So North Carolina is cracking and Vegas is cracking, like crazy. Oh, yeah. And I've been out there twice with Cali Agents and with Rod Digga. So a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. But Atlanta's up there. It's home away from home. So Atlanta, I wouldn't even really say Atlanta counts as far as counting a favorite because it's home. Like, it's kind of like how I don't even mention Boston. It's like, they're going to show love at some point. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know. So the ones I gave you were more the tour cities from the past 2 tours I've done. So, but if I want to say some honorable mentions, Oakland is there. Oakland is a lot of fun. And DC is fun too. So, and I haven't performed in New York, so it would be interesting to see like what it would be like to rock in New York finally. I've never performed there.
Yeah. Okay, so we know your favorite cities. Now, what's your least favorite city?
Do I have a least favorite city?
Or somewhere you went and it was just whack. Not necessarily the people, but there was just nothing to do. It was slow. It was, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Trying to think. Okay, so when we was on the couch, when me and Digga was on tour, we went to Seattle. Now, I enjoyed Seattle. The people that actually came were showing a lot of love, but it was very light. It was a very light show. It was nothing to do. It was super cold, and that was like the smallest crowd that I've ever seen, like ever in my whole career. So that was just very strange. But the people that were there were rocking. I personally sold over $200 in merch. And so imagine just like 10, 13 people and you sell that much. So that was cool to me. I was like, all right, like this is cool to me. Denver, Colorado was so trash. Like I don't think I'll be there again unless like a major tour or something. Like that was a waste of time. That was with Cali Agents also. I want to say we had one person there, 1 or 2. It was not good. Wow. It was not good. And believe it or not, I wasn't really feeling Austin, Texas. Outside. Yeah, like I've been to Austin twice now, 3 times outside of a festival, and it's just kind of like blah. Like there was nothing to do. And the crowds are just the crowd, again, every time I perform, and I stress this, I mean, I'm going to get a response. So people were loving it. It's just in comparison to like Houston and Chicago, is no way. It was no way. And Cleveland, it's a city outside of Cleveland that was terrible too. That I didn't really like. I want to say it was the name of the city leaves me, but it was right outside of Cleveland that we performed at, and I wasn't feeling that. Wasn't feeling Vermont. So yeah, it's a no for those cities.
All right.
No.
Cool. All right. So, what are 3 things that you do before you leave on tour? 3 things you do at home. Yeah.
Like the day I leave, or like just in general?
I mean, in general, whether it's like paying all your bills, making sure, you know, whatever, someone's watching your cat, you know, whatever it may be.
Definitely my main concern is getting the merch together. Like, for the people that are listening, the most important thing on the road is your merch, period. I've learned, me and Digga actually, there was one run, the first run I had all the merch and Digga had nothing. Like, she was running out of stuff. People were like, Digga, do you got a poster? Like, she just would bring like 2 or 3 things, and I had all these shirts and all these CDs. And then when we went to Prague, I was the other way around. I only had like 20 CDs, and then I had no shirts. I had like 20 CDs and like I had like 10 shirts, but I didn't re-up in Prague. That was where I should have been how I was on tour. I should have had like so much stuff out there. But I was thinking about traveling and everything. So really kind of gauge if you're traveling by plane, if you're traveling by a Sprinter or van, and try to dedicate a whole bag to merch if you can, especially if it's like more than 5 cities. You want to have more than not have enough. So I definitely try to make sure I got some CDs, got some shirts, something to sell. The other thing is it would be ideal for me to clean up. So I would do laundry and make sure I have fresh clothes and everything on the road, and clean up the crib. Because if I'm gone for a couple weeks, I want to come back and the crib be spotless. Hate leaving town and coming back and my clothes are everywhere, dishes aren't washed, like.
Oh, yeah.
So there's been 1 or 2 times where you just got to go. But if you know you're leaving, just, you know, straighten up your space. Because when you come home, it's home sweet home. You get off that plane or off that Uber and you just crash. The bed is made and everything. It's a really loving feeling to just come home like that. So, and then the third thing will probably just be like self-care. So I would just go get, I realize on the road you don't really have to have everything with you. You don't have to have your lotion and all that stuff. You can kind of get that along the way. So the first run I learned that, like I was like packing everything, like all the deodorants and all the lotions, but we were stopping at a CVS like every day. So I didn't really need to do that. So, but I would definitely like go get my fresh haircut, go get my nails done. If I wanted to have a new pair of shoes or something like that, my eyebrows, like just self-care and hygiene and stuff. That's what I like to kind of kick my first show off with, the freshness. So yeah, I want to say that's the top 3 things before I leave.
Got you. On a side note, like one time I left on tour and I had left a bunch of dishes, and then I get home, just like, you know, when you get home, you're just tired and want no part to do with nothing. Like I look at my sink and it's full of dishes. I just put all the dishes in a trash bag and threw it away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was no, it's like a bachelor crib anyway, so it's not like no fine china or nothing like that, so I was really tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that day I was just like, yeah, this gotta go. But all right, so the next question is, what's the best situation you found yourself in on tour?
What's the what?
The best situation you found yourself in.
Let me think about that. On tour, the best situation?
Yeah, whether it's, you know, meeting somebody you didn't expect to meet, or, you know, ending up in backstage somewhere you didn't expect to end up, or, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'm marinating because it's like,
all right.
You know, these questions you gotta kind of like think. I would guess off the top of my head, if I were to say, I have to be a little bit generic with this one because it happened for me to do the Rod Digger tour. But on the tour with Cali Agents, there were like, you know, some of my top shows and my favorite shows, cities that we went to. And like I said, that was Vegas, Columbus, Ohio, Houston, Texas. San Antonio, Texas was cool. So what I did was, with the itinerary that we got from the Cali Agents tour, I just reached out to some of those promoters to book me and Digger's tour. So some of those relationships still lasted. So the Houston promoter I'm really cool with, and the Vegas relationship, the Columbus, Ohio relationship for sure, and the Charlotte, North Carolina relationship. So I would say that would be the best situation aside from going to Prague and meeting Mos Def and G-Rap and all that shit. That's pretty cool, but that wasn't on tour. That was just kind of like a show. But yeah, I would say that overall that would have to be it. You know what I mean? Like I don't really recall anything being life-changing from the tour aside from me building those connections to create my own.
Got you.
And then
that's something I always tell people too.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you meet people and you meet fellow artists and you build those relationships with the promoters, but that's what I do all the time. So I guess that's why it doesn't stand out in particular, because it's like, I mean, I do that whether it's a show or a tour or whatever. So yeah.
Okay, what was the worst situation you found yourself in?
Well, me and the guys were bickering a lot towards the end of the tour, like the Cali Agents tour. So, that would probably be, you know, that was one of the downsides. You know, when you family, when you with your brothers, like me and Age got into it, me and Tri-State got into it. But it's like that's family, that's love. Afterwards, if you get into it with people and then afterwards there's no love, then it was no love in the beginning, you know, especially on tour when energy is high and emotions are high. But aside from with the fellas, the biggest thing that really made me mad was we were on the way to Boston. We were in Vermont or Philly, I want to say, and the promoter from Boston pulled out of the show. Pulled out. Like, just was like, I don't know about doing the show anymore. I don't know if I want to take the risk. And there was a contract signed and everything. And it was a door deal, so it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Like, there was a little bit of a guarantee, but it wasn't that serious, you know? And we promoted and everything, and we were on the way to Boston, and that was the show where we had a lot of off days. So we really needed that show to kind of compensate for the hotels and everything that we'd be spending until we had our next show. So I was livid. Like, I blocked that nigga on social media and everything after that. Like, that was just so... You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. Like, that's the type of thing that I will never be cool with you ever again, because that was my connection. That's home. So I felt embarrassed, and I felt like, yo, I really tried to set up this show for the Cali Agents. Like, this show and Atlanta were the two that I put together, you know, as far as connecting the promoter with our DJ, which was DJ True Justice at the time. So, yeah, that was probably the worst part for me. The Cali Agents tour is we still ended up going to Boston, and we linked up with a different promoter and ended up at a better venue. But because the venue changed last minute, the promoter changed last minute, the crowd was light, you know. It was trash. But I did meet Ed OG and connected with him, and that was fun. So, yeah. But me and Rod Digger, we didn't have no, I can't really think of any moments that were terrible at all. Every city was great. Every city had a great time. Other than Seattle being a light crowd, everything was fun. Great time.
Okay, cool. So Let's talk about some wild stories that you've had on the road. Yeah, I know you said you had a night where you had a little too much fun. You were late to the airport. Any other situations that that came up like that?
No, not really. I haven't been on any. Like, usually those wild stories are when you with like a whole bunch of people, or it's like, those Sprinter vans, and it's just like a space and opportunity to act the fool. And there really wasn't. With me and Digga, it was just the two of us, and we were really kind of about our business. We had some goofy moments just like playing around in the hotel or whatever, but those are kind of just moments between us, just like being goofy. But wild stories? No, not really. Like, not really. Other than me flirting and making out with some dude the day before we had to leave for another city, that's not really a wild story. That's just grown.
Yeah.
An adult. Yeah, everything else was pretty cool. I remember one time Planet Asia flipped out on the sound guy in one of the cities we were in, which was pretty funny to me. I was cracking up laughing. The guy,
how'd that go?
Huh?
How did that go?
I mean, it was just, if you know Planet Asia, he's the most funniest, charismatic, and realest nigga you will ever meet. But don't piss him off, especially when you messing with people's microphones. I think the sound guy just was not on it. Like, to me, my sound was great. Like, I went up before them every night. So I was loving my sound. I don't know what was going on with their set, but there was a lot of feedback and the sound was crazy. And he was like, "Yo, stop fucking with my fucking mic!" Like, right on the microphone in front of everybody.
Oh, damn.
And I was just in the back cracking up laughing. But that's age. Like, you love him. You learn to love him. So. Again, that's not wild. It's just like, I probably would have did the same thing. Shit. Stop fucking with my mic.
Yeah, that's funny you say that too. I was about to say, Age seems like so cool. Every time I met him, like, he just always got a smile on his face. He's always just joking and stuff. Like, I couldn't see him getting mad, but I haven't been around him.
Word? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when you messing with people's art and they craft when they trying to perform, I'm sure any type of monster will come out. So. Oh yeah, for sure. But I've seen Age perform his heart out in front of, like, that Denver show that we had was trash. It was just nobody there, and Age and Tri-State were performing like it was 500 people there, and I love that. That's how I am. Like, I don't care how many people are there. I'm gonna still give you a great show. And so that's why I really rock with those guys, because iron sharpens iron. Like, we're from that same cloth. You just perform your heart out. You do your thing, because you never know who's in the crowd. You never know who that one person is and who they might know. So, yeah. Yeah, so thank you for coming on the show. We're about to wrap it up. Let us know what you got coming up. I know you just released a new music video for Lush Lux Life, I believe. Yeah, I just dropped a video for Lush Lux Life, my latest single. Me and producer Nameless out of Detroit, Michigan. We're working on a project, which will be cool. It's going to primarily have me singing a lot on this project, so I'm excited to kind of put out a different sound and a different wave with him. And the Lush Lux Life remix with Planet Asia and Blue, I should be dropping that probably within the month. And, yeah, just a couple little features and leakers here and there. But, yeah, this year I'm kind of just taking it day by day. A lot of things are just coming out of nowhere, so it's not a lot of plans. It's just kind of like, all right, like, just rolling with the punches. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Cool. So the last question would be, what would be your piece of advice if you just got off of the stage, a 15-year-old kid comes up to you and says, I want to do what you do. What would be your one advice to them? Well, I would have to really, I want to do what you do. It's like, you got to kind of look at that kid and really see how hungry they are for it. Because I quit my job 2 years ago. My day job. to just kind of like be out here. And it's a hard thing to do. But if you have to think for years and years and years about making those kind of leaps of faith, it might not be the quitting the job, but it might be moving somewhere or making a certain type of monetary investment. It's like, how bad do you want it? You know? Are you going to sit and email, like how I got on Sway? Was I emailed them every day? Like, do you have that type of diligence and that type of persistence, you know? And kind of like working around the financial issues. I'm still struggling at that too, trying to find ways to do what I want and make things happen without a lot of monetary resources. So I would just say that, like, just weigh on how badly you want it and what you'll do for it. And then another thing is just being everywhere, going everywhere, meeting everybody. So if you're up and coming, how I got started when I was up and coming, every time somebody was in town, I was at the show. Every time there was a beat battle or open mic or jam session, whether it was jazz, R&B, rap, I was that rapper in the building, you know. And especially ladies, we definitely got to do that. We definitely got to do that more than the guys do. More times than none, I'm the only female in the crowd that raps. That shouldn't be, you know. So, yeah, I would just say that and study and know your history. Respect the OGs, you know. Know who your Rakims are, your Rod Diggers and your Nas's, and not just Jay-Z and Biggie, but know about the culture. So those pointers, I would say, like, yo, you'll get respect in this game for sure.
All right, Lyric, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sitting down with us. You know, looking forward to seeing what you got coming up and all that. And, you know, hopefully we can work together soon or we can get you on the festival or something, you know.
No doubt. Yeah. Well, you guys got my contact with my booking and everything, and just keep me in the loop with everything.
All right. Sounds good. Hope you have a good day.
All right. Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye.
All right. Peace.
Luxury sunroom, candles lit, blue pool, indoor waves, penthouse games, my rules, you choose. Leader of the new school, with lecture with the pressure. Staring right through you with a point to prove. Too close, baby, my love is too butter. On the low end, the theory was I'm deep cover. Unspoken elephants, doo-wop in the abyss. Don't mean a thing to remiss of this. Flawless, natural shit. Guilty of being stung by fuckboy venom. Damn near fell numb. Post vendetta, provoked agendas. Guess I'm part of the cycle now. Cause your niggas caught the Jones in the psycho realm. He wanna touch the helm of my garment. Stir my soul is the only requirement. I rap the gospel, the good news that fire shit. A lofty aspiring. You should worry when I get quiet cause it's a sign.
It's just in me to live life so luxurious. To see it so clearly, just like it should be. Maybe it's dangerous. The fame that looks like right, it's me. To live life so luxurious. To see it so clearly, just like it should be. Or maybe I'm dangerous. The fame that lush life.
995 studio apartment, Van Nuys, blink your eyes and catch me in the arts district. Sky rise, first class, sky miles, fuck lines, fuck 6 days a week, fine dining. They say it's all time and my revolts are unforgettable. Nat Queen Cole, dream of Diddy bopping in fur coats, then stop traffic just for a quote. To be acknowledged by Jones is the antidote. The radio poking a sleeping bear on air, polar cause my heart's cold now with no cares. So get your mans, one step from an affair by just a glance from me. Savage now with hopeless romantic backstories. You gotta wear a mask only with good intentions. The lush lux life has no protection. Just revel at how they wanna be proud of you when you're mentioned. It's no question, they fiending for the best shit.
It's in me to live life so luxurious. To see it so clearly, just like it should be.